Hey, Seattle, we got a podcast.
Go Hawks!
And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mozette, and here's your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mozette, and welcome to episode 702, your pre-draft and schedule 2019 edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, as we get ready to take on the 2019 NFL Draft and Schedule. So put your tray table up and your seat back in the full upright position. Grab a desired beverage or sit in your choice, and remember, there are no sure things in the NFL Draft. So glad to be back. We've been gone for a long time, so let me reintroduce you to the posse. Of course, we are all here this evening. First, the yin to my yang, and my partner in crime from merry old England. It is Matt. Hi, Matt.
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
Wonderful, Matt. How are you, sir?
Well, it's been a funny old week.
It has. Do tell.
Well, you see, I went up to my boss and I told my boss that I wasn't prepared to accept any further work after Monday unless he paid me a minimum of £35 million a year.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, I'm unemployed now. But, you know, I'm sure a job will come along.
Hey, it will. And I'm sure it will involve New York in some way.
Oh, yes.
So good luck with that. Hey, look, the guy that did our fantastic intro for this episode and our news hound, of course, Shadowhawk Will is here. Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses. How are you?
Wonderful. Thanks for doing that intro. It was awesome.
Anytime, Moses.
Yeah, you and the cat sitting in the bed at 1 a.m. What more could you ask for, right?
No, it's fairly typical, sadly.
Well, we appreciate your efforts, and it's a wonderful intro. We appreciate that. And oh, look, there's Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, so my game ball is going to go to Mark Rogers.
Yes. Thank you, Mark Rogers.
Prognostication is Frank Clark is next, and score is 4 years, 20 million a year.
Oh, there's some topic
good.
there. Yeah, that's good. I like. He's already in midseason form, and we just got back.
We're trading for picks.
Yeah, and that voice, of course, is from our man behind enemy lines, Lamphawks. That's it, Mark. Should we call you Lamphawk now?
If you know what? Unfortunately, no one ever has a choice in a nickname. So if it sticks,
that's a good point.
I could be stuck.
That's a great point. Yeah. Great nicknames are never.
It could be worse.
We'll think of we'll think of the people for a minute. Like if a person ever gives themselves a nickname, there's just something kind of wrong.
There is.
Not really.
Yeah,
but maybe for football.
There definitely is, and I definitely gave myself the nickname Moses. Right. But we'll move on.
Because after I did that a few times, I quit doing it. But I just wanted to say as well that I can't believe the New York Post and Jack Del Rio were wrong. I
can't believe Jack Del Rio is wrong.
Seattle. Oh my God! I'm sorry, but the networks went bonkers with this New York rumor. They wanted it so badly.
Some of
them made it sound like it was going to happen. It's like, anyway. I'm sorry, we have a show to do. Go.
That's okay. We'll get to that in the first quarter, and we will talk about that. And while you're speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about how this show's being run. Sweet. All right, let's go. This show's run like an NFL football game. We got 4 quarters and a halftime. Quarter one is we're going to talk about that deal with Russell Wilson. We're going to give Russell Wilson some props. We're going to talk about the contract, the extension. At quarter two, we're going to talk about the 2019 NFL schedule and the Seahawks 16 games and how they matched up in our schedule. At halftime, it is the best Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. Of course, I refer to 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Of the world.
Our first one of this year, of course, last episode, we had the final of Season 6, the head-to-head mono-e-mono match, and Dustin was the champion of Season 6. So we'll see if he can start off this year with a win or not. So good luck to all of you on that. And, of course, quarter three, we're going to talk about draft. We have so much to talk about. Quarter three, we're going to talk about the draft needs that this team may have, that we think the team may have. And then quarter four, we're going to do our yearly NFL mock draft challenge between Will and myself, and you want to stay tuned to that to see what's at stake at this draft challenge that Will always wins. But Before we start, we also like to remind you, please like, share, subscribe to Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Also, we are on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Email 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. We are on iTunes. We're on Podbean. We're everywhere. So just let us know your thoughts as well, if you would like. And let's get to the first quarter.
It's the first quarter, bitches.
Okay, it's time to discuss the recent signing of maybe the single greatest quarterback in Seahawk history and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever throw the ball in the NFL. I do not refer to Rick Meyer. I refer to Russell Wilson. And before we start this, I would just like to say a personal thing to Russell real quick, if I may. Hi, Russell, because I know he's listening. You know he's listening. Or I guess Mr. Wilson. I would call him Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson.
Call him
hi.
sir.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. It's Moses. Remember? Yeah, we talked earlier. So listen, we all know you're married to a goddess, okay? You don't have to show yourself in bed with her at 1 a.m. We get it, okay? So, all right. That's being said,
the guy just got $65 million to sign a deal. He can do whatever he wants.
He sure can. 4 years, 140 extension. What's it mean?
That means I didn't have to tip him 100 tokens, but I did.
That's a lot of tokens, dude. That's a lot of tokens. For the extensions, correct me if I'm wrong. The extension is 4 new years at 140 million. Overall, 5 years, 157 million. Guarantee of 107. And the thing that I liked that made, I'm sure, New York thrilled was the no trade clause, which I think is an interesting thing. Apparently, the rumors are that the agent was told, "Get this done and keep me here." Let's go back. I want to go back to the deadline a little bit. A lot of people were very upset that Russell had told the team, "Listen, I want this done by this date, or we're not going to negotiate until after the season." I think I'll start with Lamp Hawk. I'll start with Stasman Mark. How did you feel about that? Were you angry at him for that, or did you kind of understand?
No, I didn't. It didn't bug me at all. And
Okay.
And then once it didn't take long. Once you started reading some articles from people, whoever that we trust, it could be different for different people, but
Sure.
It made sense to me that going in, they've known way in advance that if they tag him, it'd be this much. If they tagged him a second year, it'd be that. And of course, they don't want to tag him to begin with, and so you come up with the average between those two figures and la da 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 da. And I don't know if the deadline caught the team off guard. But I do think the team felt that Russell would hold true to his word, and that may have really helped kind of push this thing along compared to maybe other players. But, but no, I didn't worry about it, and I didn't read anything. Like Facebook, I was not going to read threads about it. So
yeah, was anybody
but,
on the panel?
No, I wasn't angry at him. I figured he would stay.
Was anybody upset that he laid this down?
I had a couple different reactions to it because originally I thought it was a strategy. As far as I figured he would not sign a deal and do the franchise tag for a couple years, and then the new CBA would be coming into play around that time. And there's supposed to be a bunch of gambling money that's going to be involved in that, which could skyrocket the salary cap. So I thought he was just using that strategy to hold out until he could really bank in or cash in on a bunch of money. But then I started seeing reports about how they were saying that not only was he not going to negotiate after the deadline, but that would be it. He would not negotiate again with them, period. I was like,
Which we don't know about that.
Yeah, but when I started reading that, was kind of like, oh man, that's not cool. I was a little upset with that, but yeah, we don't know if that was true or not. But
a lot of rumors thrown around at this time, Matt.
Well, this is a business as well at the end of the day.
Yes.
And if you're going to go into a contract negotiation and you're running for your life if your O-line fails or whatever, and you've got a chance of injury, at the end of the day, I just thought it was a gutsy, ballsy move. If you go up to your front office and say, look, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think you can do without me. As far as I'm concerned, I think I'm worth it. So I'm going to tell you now, you've got until that date to come up with a long-term offer. If you don't do that, it will be 1 year potential extensions, and I should be looking to move. That's a ballsy, that's laying your weapons right on the ground and saying, pay me, basically, and he's worth paying. So, good call.
I agree. Will, you like the numbers in this deal?
I do. I mean, you've got a franchise quarterback. You're going to have to pay him a lot of money, and he's the highest paid player in the league. That'll last precisely 1 year until Patrick Mahomes gets his deal next year.
Truth.
There it is.
But it's,
also deserved, by the way. But yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's the kind of thing where what I really did not want them to do, and that they were pushing for, and there's some discussion as to whether or not the league would even allow it, would be to tie the contract to a certain percentage of the cap every year.
Yes, I heard that.
That is one thing. I would have been happy. I would have been fine if the team had bent on guaranteed money, length of deal, pretty much anything. But that was the one thing I really wanted them to hold firm on, and I'm glad that they did. And I was, I was happy overall. It turned out to be a fairly conventional contract. It was a big one, obviously.
Yes.
But
yes.
I think it works well for both sides, and I think it's in a couple of years, if the cap keeps increasing the way it has been, it's not going to be a bargain, but it's gonna look just fine.
I thought it was going to be for more. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but I thought it would be for more money. I thought it'd be like 38 for some reason, or something really kind of like even more above Rodgers. But anyway, I think it's pretty reasonable. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
does
that
this
sounds funny, but
it does. It doesn't. Matt, does this handcuff the team now? Because a lot of people are not complaining. Oh, he's making all this money, so there's less for everybody else. Is that a problem?
But without him, what team have you got? I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You've got to be able to sit here and look at the wider picture of this. Look, Wilson, 25,000 yards, 196 touchdowns, 112 starts, never missed a start. At some point, this kid was going to get paid. And why not now? And I have to say that I've never said this before in my life, but I actually agree with Shannon Sharp. Was saying things, I know that's very rare. But our success since 2012 has always been given to somebody else's credit. So it's been because of beast mode. First, and then it was the Legion of Boom. And it's because of our defense. It's because of our stadium. It's because of our fan. And do you know what? Actually, it's also because of Russell Wilson. And so at some point, we had to pay him. Now, there are ramifications. Maybe we'll lose Clark. I don't know. Maybe we'll lose someone else. I don't know. But this deal had to happen.
Yeah.
Because if it hadn't have happened, there would have been no team for us to worry about.
Exactly.
There are two types of teams in this league. Ones that have franchise quarterbacks and ones that are desperately trying to find them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. You have one, you don't let him go.
There it is.
And Will and everybody in this panel, we remember when Matt Hasselbeck was the best quarterback in this franchise history, which I'm not slamming Matt because Matt's a great guy and he was at his best. He was an all-pro quarterback, but we went 40 years without this kind of quarterback. We can't go another 40. Just hoping he shows up.
I remember being happy when John Freeze was our starter over Rick Meyer.
Exactly.
I don't want to go back.
And you can find
freeze frame.
And you can maybe find another, and I hate to say it, I love Frank Clark too, but you may be able to find another defensive end. Or, Bobby Wagner's a one-of-a-kind middle linebacker, but when you get a quarterback that's one-of-a-kind, that's number one priority. It's really that simple. It really is that simple. I agree. Here's an example. I got this off of Football Perspective, a tweet that says there's been 15 times in the NFL history, 15 times in the entire NFL history, where a quarterback won 9 games, rushed for over 375 yards, and had a passer rating of 95 for a season. That's happened 15 times in the history of the NFL. Russell's done 6 of those, which means the rest of the entire NFL has 9. He has almost as many as the entire rest of the NFL. Won 9 games.
But this isn't. I have to say, this isn't a surprise. We've been spoiled, as I said.
Yes.
We've been spoiled since 2012.
Yes.
We've had lots of good things that have been going on in our team.
Yes.
But he really should be a multi Super Bowl winning quarterback. Yes, there was that one awkward moment. But at the end of the day, someone had to pay him, and if we hadn't paid him, I tell you now, somebody else would have done.
Oh, you bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, that's okay. Before we kind of close the door on this, and we're very thankful for Russell being on our team, I do have a message for all those people who thought he was going to New York, and Colin Cowherd to name one, Honey Badger to name another, our buddy Jack Del Rio who just said it's going to happen, he's going to leave. For those of you who thought that was or will be an issue, I refer to you to Lin-Manuel Miranda for just a moment, and this is what I have to say to that.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
That's all I got to say about that. And with that, we'll end the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Oh, we got so much more show ahead. I know it's the end of the first, but we are still rolling through this episode. Coming up, we have got a halftime trivia. We have got our draft challenge ahead, but before we do all of that, we're going to talk about the 2019 Seattle Seahawks season schedule, and we'll do that right after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Boy, is this great!
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Oh, we are in our second quarter of episode 702 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Wow, that was a great intro, wasn't it? I'm going to stay with it, but wasn't that fun? Sounds like, hey, you're welcome. I just woke up, everyone, so good morning. We're in our 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We are doing the second quarter, and the second quarter is involving talking about the Seahawks 2019 season schedule that has been released. 8 home games, 8 road games, 5 primetime games. Really 4 in a row with a bye week in the middle, bye week at 11. We start the season home away, home away, home away, and then we end with 2 home games, 2 division home games. So that's the schedule. All right, it's halftime now. Dustin.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the schedule? Take a look at it. Tell me what you think.
Well, looking at what I'm seeing here, I'm not a fan of the font they used.
No. Now they went, the Seahawks did a very clever thing, I thought. They went to the old school video game thing, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like the Falcons video. That was fun.
That was
a drone style thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear that, who did the Pop-Tarts? Oh, the Chargers. They did Pop-Tarts for all of their teams.
Well, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but yeah.
No, but seriously, I think it's kind of interesting, kind of cool. On one aspect of it is that we got, 4 primetime games in a row? That's kind of
really
unique.
After the bye week, yes. I mean, there's a bye week in there, but yeah.
I
4
think
out of
it's
5.
1 before and then after.
Yeah, it is. 1 before and 3 after, exactly.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool little stint there. So
yeah, 5 primetime games, and we're tied with, I don't know how many teams. A lot of teams have 5 primetime games.
Then the NFC, AFC, I think only had 2 teams that had 5, and I think 5 is the max you're allowed to have per season. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Right
although you can get flexed into a 6th if they like you.
The bad news being only 2 of those are home, but
yeah. I'm going to both of them, though. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Did anybody notice the team that didn't get a single primetime game? I was actually kind of surprised. Did
it was Buffalo.
That? Yes.
Oh, Buffalo, really?
But they did get a Thanksgiving Day game, though.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I don't know.
So that's a Thursday game then, so that kind of counts.
We'll see if they can hold their meal in Buffalo on that day.
Oh, nice. Holding the meals. So, it's a pretty good schedule there. Marky, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it's funny because when I first looked at it, it wasn't until you pointed out like the times. I didn't pay attention to all the times I'm looking, home and away and all this stuff. And then you said, hey, it's 4 in a row or whatever. And for primetime, I'm like, holy cow, I've never even seen that. I don't even know if that's been done before. And the fact that we got 5, did we have 5 last year? I don't know.
No,
4, 3. I don't know.
3 or 4 maybe.
I don't recall.
But we do well. I like that we're more primetime away games just because I think that still helps us quite a bit than playing there at 1 or 10 a.m. and that kind of stuff.
Which we do, 5 times, I think? How many 10 a.m. starts?
There's 4 10 a.m. starts, I think.
4 10 a.m. starts, yeah. Which I hate.
That's right. We do have a lot of those compared. Last year, we only had a goal.
We only had like 1 or 2 last year. But honestly, I think that stigma goes back to the Holmgren era because that team never won those games. But this team under Pete, I would be surprised. I bet our record's actually pretty decent in 10 a.m. games. Now they're probably not, 10-0.
I think we are at least 500, if not.
Yeah, maybe, I bet we are. I would
maybe
be surprised.
A little bit above.
But that comes back to the Holmgren days. We used to, oh my God, every 10 a.m. game, you just put that as a loss because there's no way. Yeah, right. So that's not as bad. It's just inconvenient. It's inconvenient for my friends on the West Coast because y'all got to get up and have breakfast and watch football. Matt, what time is that for you? 10 a.m.
It will be an early one. It will be like a 4 p.m. game. But it's inconvenient over here as well because those 5 primetime games are also 1 in the morning starts over here.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yikes!
Yeah.
So that's
So
a
Matt
rough
actually
stretch
likes
for
the
you.
10 a.m. games.
Woo!
The early games, I'm all over them.
Yeah.
But yeah, these Proton ones are going to be that's going to be late.
The story here locally, has anyone seen the Raiders schedule? Oh my god.
No.
They go
It's
two whole months before a home game.
What?
They don't play in Oakland for all the month of October. is the way it works out.
Well, I
They don't
mean,
have a
really, they
single
don't
home
play
game.
in Oakland for all the season. So
It's
there's
just,
that. They're playing where the San Francisco Giants play. They're playing in
That's
this
true. Oh, Candlestick, and what a lovely
No,
place that
they're
is.
in Oakland.
Are they in
they're in
Oakland?
Candlestick's been
no.
leveled.
Yeah, the
Candlestick's
49
long gone.
the 49ers, they had a deal to play in the Giants Stadium in San Francisco, but the 49ers and the NFL said and they had to go back and they renegotiated a deal with a 1-year lease with Oakland.
Oh dear!
So they're in the
Oh my
Coliseum
god!
again.
Hey, we're leaving you. Screw you. We're going to Las Vegas.
we're
we stay
back.
next year?
Can
we stay next year?
They're worried the Raiders were going to spray paint and tag the beautiful park that is. If anyone ever gets a chance to see a baseball game at, I guess they're calling it Oracle Park now. They keep changing the sponsor, but if you get a chance to see the SF Giants in that stadium, go, because it's a beautiful. It really is amazing. Right on the water, whole deal. Anyway,
A few nice
Park
places left in
sounds
San
right.
Francisco.
I could use a little Oracle. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know why San Francisco cared though. It's not like they play there.
There you go.
So you are. What are we thinking about the bye week? It's week 11, isn't it?
Yes.
I like having a late bye for a change.
I do too.
And you combine the late bye with the early Thursday night game, and you get kind of the mini bye after that. It kind of breaks the season up almost into thirds, and it works actually pretty well.
It really does. That's real. Well, good point.
And it looks like the 15th of December, I shall somehow be in Carolina.
With your sister.
Yes.
Yes, big Carolina fan.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Are you going to the game?
Yes. But we don't go to Carolina if I wasn't.
Hey, there's a game that week. You should probably go.
You should probably go.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, Matt, if the Seahawks win, you need to run around the parking lot with your arm up like Cam Newton did when he played them last year.
Awesome. Matt's got a Newton.
Matt's got a Newton. I'm clam pooping.
That's what I call him, clam pooping. Any final thoughts on the schedule?
No.
It looks good. Does anybody want to? We want to take a gander at a record. Little Mo and I kind of went through it today, and I finished this at 11-5, which is scary. But I had us 11-5.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty tough. I'm not sure how it's going to roll out.
Yeah,
16-0. What the hell?
Yeah,
There it
yes,
is.
16-0. I've been replaced by Will. Will is now the minister of positivity. You're the minister.
Oh dear.
Probably better than the altar boy of positivity there. So
We won't go into that.
That's not what the Pope said.
No, nobody wants to take a guess other than me. I'll be brave enough to say 11-5 this early this season with no draft and no practice at all. I'm just going to say 11-5.
Well, we're going to do an official show later, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, we'll do our bold predictions at the start of the season. I guess we can do those there.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know.
I need to have a look at this before I give you numbers.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. And it is, it is home away, and then there's the two at the end of the season. There's a stretch there that it's in the middle of that 4 out of 5, starting from week 10 to week 15. 4 out of those 5 games will be on the road, which is a little nasty. Yeah, which is a little nasty that stretch that late. But
yeah, the Ravens, it was weird. They went home away the entire season.
Well, see, that would be nice. I would like that. That's all I really want.
Something that's kind of nice about that though, there's only one long trip in that span. That's to Philly. The other ones are to Los Angeles and San Francisco.
That's a good point. Little Mo made a point out, and I'll ask you guys this question. Would you rather, I'll start with Matt, would you rather, our team is notoriously slow starting, better ending. Would you rather have a better start or a better ending if you had a choice?
Better ending, because everyone else is, if I had a choice, better ending.
Yeah. Will?
Better ending. My first year as a ticket holder was '99, and that's when we started 8-2, and then lost 5 out of our last 6, and just barely made the playoffs. So
was that that was the year that culminated at the Jets, right?
Nope, that was the year before.
98 was the Jets. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
we won our Christmas game against the Chiefs, and that got us into the playoffs just barely.
And then lost to the Dolphins.
Yep.
I remember
Can
that.
I say that my pick is for purely selfish reasons, though, because I don't want to have to go to Carolina in week 15, lose, and have my sister insufferable on the plane all the way home.
Oh, amen. I'm with you there. Zorny, better to start good or finish good?
Finish. We finish games well typically, and so it makes sense.
We finish seasons well, so we'll see. It's kind of challenging that a little bit with all those road games kind of near the end, but we'll see.
And you win the season in the first quarter?
No.
With our record, and when you predicted a win total, I think it's going to be, our own division's a huge X factor on our record because we know the Rams might fall a little bit and we split with them. The Niners will have their own Jimmy G back, but we might sweep them, or they might be, our own division is just, Arizona, no matter who they have at QB, we better sweep. But we always have weird games there, so
they always give us trouble.
I just want to get out of Arizona alive. It seems like every time we go there anymore, somebody's out for the year.
It's like it's just the Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It's a house of horrors.
Someone gets injured apart from CJ Process.
It's the Super Bowl 49 curse.
That's what I think. I think it's Super Bowl 49 curse.
The curse of Bob Crane.
Get your cameras out for that one. All right, let's go to halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Oh, yes. Coming up, so much more show. Why was Sierra smiling in that 1 a.m. video? Is Russell Wilson, is he, too small for other things? Why am I obsessing over the Wilsons and their mating habits?
Ooh.
I really don't want to know.
And more. He has big hands. Just around the corner. But coming up, it's the 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia, and that is next.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another fine edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
of the world.
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves: Dustin, Statsman Mark, Will, and Matt. And hey, Seattle, here are the rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-Man Fan Jam Show trivia champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. All right, you know the rules. Once per every round, 2 rounds, you can ask what the kids said. You get a point per question, and then, of course, the final question worth 2 points. And if we have overtime, we have overtime. All right, the order, first 4 questions. The topic is the Seattle Seahawks schedule. Seattle Seahawks schedule. So, Dustin, you were the crowning champion of last season, so you get to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4.
4.
Dustin picks 4. Matt, 1, 2, 3.
2, please.
2, please. Will, 1, 3.
1, please.
Will picks 1, and that means Statsman Mark gets 3. Of course, as you know, there are 4 questions. 1 is kind of not quite a football question. Will?
Yep.
You get that one because
it's like riding a bike, you know? I'm
they are
picking up
playing
right where I left off.
They are playing the Baltimore Ravens. And so my question to you is about the Ravens. Well, it's about someone who wrote The Raven, Edgar Allan Poe. How old was the wife of Edgar Allan Poe when he married her? Was she 14, 15, or 16? Edgar Allan Poe's wife, who, by the way, was his cousin. Dance! His cousin. Was she 14, 15, or 16 when they got married? 1803. No, he was born 1803. I don't know. Something.
I really should know this because I've read so much Edgar Allan Poe.
His wife and his mother and these all people died of tuberculosis. It's crazy, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. If you read his life, the stuff he wrote actually makes more sense now.
It does. It definitely does.
I'm gonna go full on Whiskey Tango Foxtrot and say 14.
You going far deep south, and you're saying 14. All right. You said 14. Little Mo said 14. Mosette said 16. Yes, she was 14 years old. Edgar Allan Poe married his 14-year-old cousin. Way to go, Will. You hit the pedophile right on the button. All right.
I was going to say, is Edgar Allan Poe related to Jerry Lee Lewis?
Oh, I don't know.
No, but he was related to the guy who wrote Rock and Roll Part 2. So.
Oh, Gary Glitter, yes. Matt.
Yes.
We played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year.
Bucks, yeah. Where's your Buccaneers?
You know where your Buccaneers are? They're
on your
side,
bucking head.
The side of your bucking head. You better believe it. Listen, who was the first team? The first team the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat ever. Was it the Falcons, the Packers, or the Saints? The first team, they went 0-26.
That was last year, wasn't it?
Oh. First team they beat, was it the Falcons, the Packers, or the Saints?
I don't know. But I'll go, just for shits and giggles, I'll go Falcons.
Shits and giggles says Falcons. All right, Falcons. Well, let's see. Mosette said Packers. Little Mo said Saints. You said Falcons. I'm sorry. It was the Saints. The Saints, their first win. And I'm sure the Saints fans were thrilled about that. All right. Mark.
Yes.
We are playing the Bengals this year. The last time the Seahawks hosted the Bengals was back in 2011. The Seahawks lost 12-34. It's very sad. How many interceptions did Andy Dalton throw on that day? Was it 1, 2, or 3? And if I'm not mistaken, number 25 had one. But how many interceptions?
Yeah, and we lost
34-12. Yeah, 1, 2, or 3. Wow. How many interceptions? Yeah.
Dalton. Yeah, I'm still convinced they only drafted that guy because his hair matches the helmet.
Oh.
See, boy, I don't know, but the way this is, I'll say 3.
I'll say 3. Mosette said 2. Little Mo said 3. You said 3. Nah. It was 2. He only threw 2. Yeah.
Pretty sure that was the game Brandon Browner force slammed the guy too.
I think so. I'm sure.
The receiver in the end zone. Yeah.
That old familiar song.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Your doorbell. Hey, Dustin. We're playing the Vikings this year. The last time the Seahawks lost to the Vikings at home was back in 2006, 13-31. Here's a great one for you. How many interceptions did Seneca Wallace throw? Yes, the Seneca Wallace era. How many interceptions did Seneca Wallace throw? 1, 2, or 3 against the Vikings in 2006? 1, 2, or 3?
I'll say 2. I'll stick with the correct answer from the last question because that always works.
Strategy. He says 2. Little Mo Mosette said 3. Strategy worked. Dustin's on the board. All right, as we go to round 2, it's Will, Dustin, Matt, and Mark. Will, 5, 6, 7, or 8?
7.
Will's going with 7. Dustin, 5, 6, or 8?
8.
Matt, 5 or 6?
5.
And that leaves Mark with number 6. All right. Matt.
Yes.
You might be familiar with this team. The Carolina Panthers, you're familiar with them?
Yes, I know a bit of them, yes.
We're playing the Carolina Panthers this year. The last time the Seahawks lost to Carolina in the regular season was 2007 in Carolina. 13-10 was that score. Who caught the only touchdown pass for the Seahawks that day? Was it Deion Branch, Nate Burleson, or Bobby Ingram? Who caught the only touchdown pass for the Seahawks back in 2007? Deion Branch, Nate Burleson, or Bobby Ingram?
Deion Branch.
Deion Branch.
I'll ask the kids, please.
Oh. Lil Mo said Nate Burleson. Mosette said Bobby Ingram.
I'll go with Nate.
You'll go with Nate. Nate Burleson. And your answer... I'm sorry. It is Deion Branch. Deion Branch got the only touchdown pass.
Kids.
Never thought he would ever... I didn't think he even caught a touchdown pass for us, but apparently he did.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I saw
he caught it as time expired, so it really didn't do a darn thing for us.
Well, and I remember he caught one from the Bengals when I was up there, but anyway, I digress. Mark, we play the Browns in Cleveland this year. First time the Seahawks played the Browns in Cleveland was 1979. Seahawks won 29-24. How many touchdowns did running back Sherman Smith of the Seahawks have in that game? 1, 2, or 3? How many touchdowns for Sherman the Tank Smith? 1, 2, or 3 against the Browns in 1979.
Wow.
Cool kids never had the time.
What a year.
79. Seahawks won 29-24.
Right. I'm gonna psych myself out and go 3, even though that was the incorrect.
He's gonna psych himself out. He's gonna go 3.
Go 3. Go big.
Little Mo went 2. Mosette went 3. You went 3. Yes!
Oh,
Mark's on the board.
This is like a pitcher on an American League team when they're in a National League park getting a hit.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, you got a hit.
Team to come.
All right. Well.
Yes.
Seahawks play Philadelphia this year at Philadelphia.
Oh, you mean I actually get a football question?
Yeah, football question. How many times have the Seahawks shut out the Eagles in Philadelphia? Once, twice, or 3 times a shutout? How many times have the Eagles been shut out by the Seahawks in Philadelphia? Once, twice, or 3 times? We all remember the Monday night game.
Yep. I can only remember 2, so I'm going to go 2.
He's going to go with 2. Little Mo went with 1. Mosette went with 2. You went with 2. Yes! 2 it is. 1998. In 2005.
Was like 38-0, right?
Yes, both of them were big scores.
Well, let's have a repeat of that. That would be fun.
That would be awesome. Hi, Dustin.
Hey.
You know, I don't know if you noticed, but everyone's had a football question.
Yeah.
So you know,
that was nice.
Yeah, now you don't. It's about Pittsburgh. We're going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has more what per capita than any other city. More what per capita than any other city.
Assholes.
Well, more bars, more car dealerships, or more restaurants per capita than any other city. Bars, car dealerships, or restaurants than any other city. 12 per 10,000 residents is the actual quote. Bars, car dealerships, or restaurants.
Say bars.
Say bars.
I always hear about how they like to work hard over there. I'm sure they like to drink hard too.
Little Mo said bars. Mosette said restaurants. You said bars. Bars! 12 bars for 10,000 people. Yeah, it does.
Damn. That was like Sling Blade inspired right
there. Bars! Oh my God.
Sounds like what I used to yell out for Christmas in terms of what do I want, 1990.
Bars! All right. All right, here we go. All right, we look at the scores. Will and Dustin at 2, Mark at 1, Matt at 0, and it is time for your final question. Final question. Final question is worth 2 points. We can have a tie. We can have overtime. And I don't have music for overtime, so we'll just have to see how that works out. Okay. The closest without going over the number of the answer for the question wins. If everybody goes over, whoever's closest gets the 2 points. The order will go, Dustin will go 4th, Will go 3rd, Mark will go 2nd, and Mark will go first. Matt will go first. So Matt, Mark, Will, Dustin.
I just was saying that.
And it reverse and forward. And now
Okay.
in Spanish, Matt uno, Mark dos, Will tres, and Dustin cuatro. Okay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Here's your question. Matt, are you ready?
Yep.
The real question is if I'm ready, right? I know. Okay. Here's your question. How many passing yards did Russell Wilson throw for at North Carolina State combined? How many total passing yards did Russell Wilson throw for when he was at North Carolina State?
I don't care.
Don't care.
It's too early in the morning to care. In order to save you from having to worry about a tie, which of course would cause all sorts of problems with music and timings and everything, I'm going to say he threw for 140 million.
Okay. Clearly
That
I am
could be a little high.
I am clearly in preseason mode.
Yes,
That's,
totally.
There's no doubt about it.
We can't.
I say 140 million and 1.
Yeah, no, guys.
That would be awesome.
Exactly.
All right, Mark, 140 million. What do you got?
Even Lamp, no.
You gonna scale down a little bit? Scale down a little bit there, Lamp.
Yes, I guess I'm assuming Russell played at North Carolina State for about 3 seasons. So.
I believe yes.
All right, I'm gonna say. Let's see. I will go 10,132.
10,132. Will.
I will go a bit lower. How about
That's your call right there, giving you the answer where that is.
Okay, 4,845.
4,845. Dustin.
Sorry, I was trying to do that and time it in between the phone ringing. So
Matt said 140 million. Mark said 10,132. Will said 4,845. What do you got?
I'll say I'll go between the two with a reasonable answer and say 5,000.
You'll say 5,000.
One of us got a spot on. Yeah. It's going to be me.
All right.
Going to be me. It's going to be me.
Okay. Get ready. Oh my
God.
God.
Got a tiebreaker, everybody.
All right. The actual number of yards. We had 140 million. We had 10,132. We had 5,000. We had 4,845. The actual number of yards that he threw in 3 years was 8,545.
Oh.
You know what that means?
It
means it's Thundercats time, baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thunder
I was so close.
You were so
I
close.
thought Matt was going to pull it off again. I really did.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought so too.
Not on air.
a good strategy would a good
That's what the
strategy
mute button's for.
would be not to go over 140 million. I'm just saying.
I'm making a note of that.
Congratulations, Dustin.
Well,
Order
when you said
yourself
that,
a
I tried to
trophy.
say it was
Fortunately,
for-
it's preseason, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Every time Matt loses a
It
preseason,
just
it
doesn't matter.
There it comes. Oh my God. Hey, was this not an incredible music-filled, crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
Of the world.
Of the world.
Wow,
Not
he wins.
really,
He doesn't
no.
even want to do it. What's wrong with you, Dustin? Line! Line!
I'm sorry, forgot.
Got playing your song. He's so into Thundercats, he can't stand it. All right. We got a whole second half of show ahead. We've got our draft needs. We've got Will and I have a draft challenge you don't want to miss. We'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
All right, it's the second half of your 12-man Fan Jam show. Hey, you!
Me?
Yes, you FaceTiming the world from your bed at 1 in the morning. Am I bitter about that? I think I am. Like, share, and subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Do it now before your team reaches in the draft. Oh, no, too late! Hey, congratulations again to Dustin, our halftime trivia winner. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think it's kind of funny, the numbers. I was kind of had to do a double take because, Will, your numbers were very close to what it actually was. You said what? You said 4,845. So you said 4,845, and the numbers were actually 8,545, which is really strange.
Wow. Okay.
We had a dyslexic moment reading
So
that.
you had like,
I find more interesting ways to lose at
you
trivia
do
than anybody else.
because I had to do it when you did. I did a double take. I'm like, wait a minute, is that no? He's close. If it was how many numbers are in that number, you would have won, but you didn't. So
that was a trivia-gami or what?
Yeah, I'm trivia.
Trivia-gami.
I'm trivia dyslexic here.
Will had a trivia gami. That's awesome. Oh, see, now you know what's going to happen. Will now Pete Carroll's going to want to come on a show and try to get more trivia gummies than you have. That's what's going to happen. All right,
Well, chewing gum.
third quarter. All right, the draft. Draft is coming up this week. We will have our show in a couple weeks, probably 2 weeks from right now, which would be around the beginning of May. The week after the draft, we'll do a show and we'll put all our draft stuff together. But we are talking about the draft the second half, and it kicks off talking about what our needs are, what we feel the Seahawks' needs are, and maybe a player or two that you may have seen that you liked in the draft. Dustin, what are some areas you'd like to see addressed by the draft for the Seahawks coming up next week?
Well, I mean, this is kind of a cop-out, I guess, a little bit, but I think the biggest thing we need in the draft is more picks, because they've only got 4 so far.
I agree.
So, yeah, I imagine they're going to trade back in the first round, and who knows what will happen after that. But after that, I always like to see him get more pass rush and more help on the offensive line.
The whole world thinks we're going to trade down. I think it'd be so funny if we didn't, just because everyone thinks we are. But you have to have a dance partner to dance. So I don't know if we even have anybody that want that pick, but we'll see. I agree. I'd love to see more picks with just 4 of them. Zorny, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that it's interesting you mentioned the draft, and I think this draft sounds like it'd be really strange, and so I think we will end up being able to trade out of the pick because I think someone, inevitably 1 or 2 guys keep falling, and then boom,
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with Dustin's. That's a good point that we need more picks. Actually, what I've been thinking now lately is, we have historically, and of course we have a young one, we have a great linebacking, we have historically good linebackers anyway. But with KJ Wright, I'm glad he's back, but he's a lot of miles, and even with Wagner, even though he's never played, but we know when these players go, when they slide a little, sometimes it just can happen. It can happen a lot quicker than anyone would think. And so I actually would not mind going linebacker with the best available linebacker at that point. But there's so many needs. I mean, you can't really go along. But I'm almost thinking linebacker right now.
Yeah. What about you, William?
Well, pass rush is our biggest thing. But it's an interesting draft because it's probably the best defensive line draft in the last 10 to 20 years. So, you can go a couple different ways. You can go, oh, this is a great defensive line draft. I'm going to get a great defensive lineman in the first pick. Or, oh, it's a great defensive line draft. I can get somebody great later on in the draft. I'm going to focus on my other needs first. So it's the Seahawks have done both too. So, but
they have.
I think we can guarantee we're going to come away from this with a couple of defensive linemen. It's just a question of where we get them.
Real quick, are the Clemson linemen, all 4 of them, are they still projected to be first rounders?
Not all first rounders. I know Clellan Ferrell is. DeAndre Walker's probably looking like second round pick just because he got hurt. He couldn't do as much of the testing, but he'll be fairly early on day 2.
Yeah, awesome. Dustin, any other thoughts?
Wide receiver, I think, is the area of concern also, because
If
we
you
don't know what's
ask me,
happening
that's
with
what I
Doug
would
Baldwin,
say.
and we don't have a lot of size other than that.
I'm
we
getting
haven't
you.
really done much in free agency. Was that?
Matt wants our delegation from the British Isles wishes to report. Yes, Matt, what are your
I
thoughts?
literally sat down and wrote, right, okay, I can't say defensive lineman, so I need to come up with someone else. He's going to ask me next, because on the last one he hasn't asked, and he says, Dustin, any more thoughts? Asshole.
I was waiting for you to go, nobody cares.
Which wide receiver would be it was going to be what I was going to say, but it's all pointless now. But yeah, wide receiver, only because, as Will rightly points out, I think you can get a defensive lineman pretty much anywhere in this draft at any point. So why not go out there and try and get somebody with long arms and long legs and see if you can, catch some of those balls from that very expensive quarterback that we now have.
And I'm not going to lie, that Baldwin scares me, Matt, a little bit. That whole thing about, well, is he really healthy? Another surgery. I'm like, oh, he's not a spring, he's one of the veterans on this team, especially. I mean, I can remember when he was wearing number 15 before Matt Flynn showed up. So, he's not getting any younger. Was he 30?
Yeah,
is that
something
right?
like that.
Yeah, something like that. We that's one thing about you get from the 12-man Fan Jam show. You get crack accuracy.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity.
Let me ask Dustin's friends, Doug Baldwin.
Yeah. Okay, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a follow-up question.
He's 30 years old.
Is there any position that would piss you off if we keep a first-round pick, we draft the Seahawks keep the first-round pick, they draft a position? Is there one that you go, oh, come on?
Quarterback.
Yeah. Anything else? Punter? Kicker?
Kicker. Yeah, kicker would be annoying.
Tight end?
Oh no, you can never have enough tight ends.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I think what's nice about this team is that there's room for. I mean, I think we could have anything. We could draft just about anything, so you can get the best available, and I think that's just fine, as long as it's not a quarterback or a kicker. I think you're okay. So it should be an interesting draft, because I think they I'm not saying they have a lot of needs, but there's just a lot of there's a lot of spots where, oh yeah, we could use another linebacker. We're like, you guys hit just about every spot. Defensive lineman, the defensive lineman is draft, wide receivers. You talked about, everything, except for running back. You didn't mention running back. You didn't mention tight end. You didn't really mention the defensive backfield, which I thought was interesting, because I thought maybe someone would say, well, we could use some more help in the defensive backfield. But we'll see. I guess we'll have to see. And with that, I guess we will move on to the fourth quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right, here we go. It is the fourth and final quarter of your 12-man Fan Jam show coming up in just a moment, and it will be a memorable one as Will and I once again battle head-to-head for the 2019 NFL Mock Draft Challenge. That is coming right back. You are listening and watching the 12-Man Fan Jam show, back and Seahawkier than ever. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Are we having fun yet?
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
All right, we're at the final quarter of episode 702 of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. Thank you so much for sticking around. It is the show that dares to ask the tough questions and give no tough answers. All right, it is time now for a yearly tradition the week before the draft. Will and I attempt to go mano-a-mano as we have our 2019 NFL Mock Draft Challenge. There it is! That's right, it's our Mock Draft Challenge. Here's how this works. Because the Seahawks only had 4 picks, and Will and I talked about it, said, let's just do a pick every round. So we have a pick for every round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We both have picks in each round. If the Seahawks draft our player in the round we say, we get 3 points. If the player is drafted by the Seahawks not in the round we say, we get 2 points. And if the Seahawks pick up the player as an undrafted free agent by the next show, because there's a lot of movement a couple days after there, we each get a point for that. So, last year was, of course, Will's third in a row, fourth in a row. I don't even know. I mean, Will, you've won so many, it's hard to keep track. And what happens is the winner gets to write a short 60-second rant for the loser to be read unseen during the next 12-man Fan Jam show, which will be in the first quarter. And of course, when I say unseen, I mean they won't see it until they read it. So I believe, was it last year that Will had me do a lovely pick every round in the voice of Donald Trump? Am I not mistaken?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines. So that's a lot of fun. So, all right. So, just to be silly, we picked one in every round. I'm going to let Will go first because he wins last year. He won every year. He's done it. So, all right, Will, enlighten us with your mock draft, if you would, please.
Okay, Moses, like you said, it's a little different since we're just picking one player who might be available in each round. So,
boo! Oh, sorry. Go ahead and pick. I didn't mean that. Go ahead.
You're not a Jets fan, Moses.
No, sorry. I'll take that back.
Okay, round one. You had mentioned defensive backs. How about Juan Thornhill, safety, Virginia? This guy is physical. He's instinctive. He's got good speed, good run defender. Seattle has been, towards the end of last year, was doing the big nickel concept, having a safety playing nickel back. Thornhill would fit that role perfectly. Be a nice addition to defensive backfield. Round two, one of my favorite players in this year's draft, Terry McLaurin, wide receiver, Ohio State. 6 foot, 208 pounds. Very fast, ran a 4.35 40 at the combine. Comes back to the ball, very athletic, very tough, has played special teams. You want somebody who can eventually step in and hopefully replace Doug Baldwin. This is your guy. Third round, this one's for Matt. Tight end, Jay Sternberger, Texas A&M, 6'4", 250 pounds. If we replace Doug Baldwin with the previous pick, this one replaces Jimmy Graham, gives Seattle a big target in the red zone. Pretty good vertical speed, good hands catcher, good job of getting separation. You know, we had a tight end that got us 10 red zone touchdowns a couple of years ago, and this guy could be a poor man's Jimmy Graham at some point. Fourth round, Charles Omenihu, defensive end, Texas. Tall, athletic defensive end. He's agile. He's smart. He's got instincts like crazy. Changes directions well. As a guy who can fit right into the rotation. Needs to bulk up a little bit, but has the frame to do it. Fifth round, Greg Gaines, defensive tackle, Washington. This is another shorter tackle like Poona Ford, although he's 6'1", so he's a couple inches taller. Very explosive. Tony Pauline of draftanalyst.com called him a sawed-off defensive tackle. So, he's a violent hitter, great pad level, change of direction. He's going to be a great rotational guy at the next level, and I think he's one that Seattle's going to want to get in there, turn him loose so he can have fun. Sixth round, Derek Thomas, cornerback, Baylor. This guy, you just look at his physical attributes, and he just screams Seahawk cornerback. He's 6'3", 190, athletic guy, strong tackler, good length, competes to make plays. He just seems like the kind of guy they want to bring in and put him on the outside. Final round, seventh round. If we're going to be a running team, we need a fullback. Let's go Alec Ingold, Wisconsin. This guy is tough. He's nasty. He has good catches the ball well out of the backfield and just loves to hit people. I've been wanting a fullback on this team for a while, so I think this guy would be great. Other honorable mentions, if you were, guys to maybe keep your eye on the first couple days. These won't count towards the challenge, but I just wanted to throw them out there. Jalen Ferguson, defensive end, Louisiana Tech, maybe first round. Sean Bunting, cornerback out of Central Michigan, Chippewa. LJ Collier, defensive end from TCU, could be a day 2 pick there. DeAndre Walker he's actually from Georgia. I thought he was from Clemson. Never mind. But defensive end / linebacker type. N'Keal Henry, wide receiver from Arizona State's been shooting up draft boards. He's another of the big, tall wide receiver types that we've been looking for. And then Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a safety out of Florida. He's another guy that they could bring in and use as a nickelback role. I actually really like this guy. He's apparently got a couple of character red flags, though, so he could drop. But if he drops far enough, you never know. Might be worth it. So.
You never know. You never know. Wow. Well done. That's a really nice list, Will.
Beat that, Moses.
Thank you, Moses.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's 100% incorrect, but it's nice.
I'm used to that.
Yeah, so, see, Will does his due diligence on his list. He researches, he compares, he watches film, he listens to draft experts. Me, I go for the name that just sounds cool. So, here's my mock draft based on that, and it's a little musical. There's a couple little musical spots, and it starts with round one. Round one, this guy's name just brought up, little Michael Jackson. Yeah, because his name's Rock Ya-Sin. Defensive back from Temple. Rock Ya-Sin. So he wants to rock Ya-Sin with you, baby. Sing it, Michael. All right, she closed her eyes. We'll move on. Round two is another great name to have and a great player as well. I actually know who this is. And I said, oh, yeah, you've got to have this name. Because anytime in round two, anytime you have Michael Jordan on your team, you know you're going to get some rings. So Michael Jordan, offensive lineman, Ohio State, book it. Round three sounds like a guy who he played for Wisconsin. He should play for Wisconsin. He should be from Wisconsin. There's no better, more Wisconsin-y name than Bo Benschwagel. So Bo Benschwagel, gotta come from Wisconsin. Offensive lineman. You know this guy has got sauerkraut in his locker room. He has to. Third round pick. Fourth round pick, I dedicate to Little Mo, my son Little Mo, who it goes by Little Mo, Lil-Mo, right? And I saw this guy from Texas named Lil Jordan Humphrey. And I thought that's perfect. So for Little Mo, Lil Jordan, Lil-Jordan, Lil Jordan Humphrey. And if I'm going to have Michael Jordan, I got to have Lil Jordan. So fourth round pick, Lil Jordan Humphrey, wide receiver out of Texas. Round five might sound a little familiar because we already had Rock Ya-Sin and we have Michael Jordan. And now we're going to draft Michael Jackson, everybody. The king of pop, except this guy's a defensive back from Miami of Florida.
He'd be Seattle's second Michael Jackson, too.
He would. Yes, he would. The running
the
receiver.
Blue Wave is on a roll.
Linebacker.
Yeah. Was he a linebacker?
Yep.
Did we have a receiver, Michael Jackson? Am I right?
I don't think so.
I thought we did. No, you know what? It was the Browns.
Michael
Browns.
Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm
talking
about
saxophone in the music video.
Yes, he did. You're right. Good call.
Oh, that was perfect.
Round six. Round six, I have musical tribute as well from Miami of Florida, a safety named Sheldrick Redwine, because, you know. You got to have that as a theme song. Come on. If you've never seen this video for Red Wine by UB40, it's basically a guy who gets completely trashed. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
A drunk guy walking through a bar. That's all you got there.
I don't have to see the video. I've seen the real thing.
Yeah, no. Okay.
It was to foreshadow my life. A great
So, Sheldrick Redwine, safety from Miami of Florida. That's my 6th round pick. And my last pick, you got all this music going on. It's a very musical draft. So we should finish with a little jazz. Round 7, Jazz Ferguson, wide receiver, Texas. Floating on the tops of cities, contemplating jazz. Jazz Ferguson, wide receiver, Texas. Round 7. That's your mock drafts. Book 'em! Everyone, we'd like to thank you for listening as we go off the air this evening. This is your Crappy FM, and that is your 12-Man Fan Jam show for episode 702. Thank you so much for listening. Coming up next, Robin Stevens will tell you about interesting lighthouses. But first, I'm going to take a cup of coffee and about three Viagra and see what pops up. All right. Sorry. Sorry, folks. All right. Unfortunately, it is time to finish. But before we finish, I want to know if you've listened this far, God bless you. If you want to join our challenge, all you have to do is place your lists on the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page for all to admire and laugh at with ours. Add it under the draft challenge thread, which will be up starting about April 21st. April 21st, the draft challenge thread will go up on 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. Put your own mock draft on there. And if you win, we might let you tell us what to say on this show and the next 12-Man Fan Jam show. So come on, join the fun. You've listened this far. I mean, you might as well finish it, right? Finish it!
Finish him.
Speaking of finishing, it looks like it's time to finish another 12-Man Fan Jam show. Oh, we just got here, and it's time to go already. Gosh. Hey, we're glad you joined us. We hope you laughed a little. Maybe you learned a little. What did we learn on this show? There was a lot of show here. We learned that I could use a little Oracle. Matt's going to Newton at the ball game. Will is now the minister of Seahawk positivity. And he also had a trivia-gami. Thanks that Mark pointed that out. And finally, I am clearly in preseason mode. So, on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, our Newshound Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, Dustin as the Beaver, Roger Goodell, Mosette, Little Mo, Sierra, Cher, Madonna, all of the great one-named women of this world. This is Moses saying until next time, as always, go Hawks!
Oh,
Hawks! Go Hawks!
I'm just saying it's 1 a.m. and she's got a big smile on her face in that video. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying it's 3:30 here and I have not got a smile on my face.
Oh, go to bed, sleepyhead.